the bedrock from which all of your other nutrition habits are going to be able to change, where you're going to be able to maintain these habits for the rest of your life. Welcome to Cravings Control for Fat Loss. I'm your host, Laura Cavallo, former sugar binger, overeater, and yo-yo dieter turned fat loss and cravings coach for hundreds of busy women. Here at Cravings Control for Fat Loss, I'll be sharing mindset, movement, and metabolism strategies for those who are ready to ditch the fat diet cycle and slim down without counting calories, tracking points, or giving up any of the foods they love. Get ready to embrace progress over perfection, grace over guilt, and bring curiosity and learning to the inevitable ups and downs of your life. Expect a decrease in your cravings while seeing and feeling an improvement in how you look, how you feel, and your overall quality of life. I am so excited you're here, boo. Let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Cravings Control for Fat Loss. My name is Laura Cavallo, your cravings and fat loss coach. And today we are rounding out our Satisfull Plate series with part number 4 of Satisfull Plates, which is Observe. Now, part number 4 of creating a Satisfull Plate is really what ties all of this together. If you have a cravings control, fat loss, or overall health goal, then this is important. It's imperative when you are trying to change some habits around your nutrition, you're trying to develop new skills, you're trying to develop a new relationship with food, that you don't just go through the motions with your diet, your nutrition, even your exercise routine, your sleep, your stress. You need to become an active participant in the foods you're eating, how they're affecting your body, how you feel after eating them. And when I refer to observe, I mean for you to pay attention to things like how fast you finish your plate, your fullness levels afterwards, how hungry you are before, your cravings afterwards, your digestion. Are you bloated? Are you gassy? Things even like your mood and your focus, right? How many of us have eaten like big meals and then we totally crash afterwards, or we can't focus, or we're irritable, right? And I'll go through these a little bit more at the end, but those are just some examples. And what I love about Satisfull Plates is that it builds in the awareness and mindfulness piece that we need for all habit change and consistency with our nutrition habits, with our nutrition routines. And so I'm hoping that this episode will lend some insight for you and help you build that awareness, that mindfulness, and help you be an active player in your nutrition and fat loss goals. And I always find this interesting and also really exciting because when I first start working with clients and they first start observing, their plates, they don't really understand why it's so important. They just kind of focus on lean, detox, crave, blah, 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 right? And then as they start to observe, then they become so much more aware of like, holy crap, I had no idea this was happening, or holy crap, like I noticed this and it's awesome. And they start to connect the dots like, okay, this meal kept me fuller for longer. I'm going to prioritize this type of protein, or I'm going to prioritize these type of veggies. Or this meal caused me way more cravings. Like that rice just was not satisfying at all. Maybe I'll try a wrap next time, or I'll try quinoa, or I'll try potatoes. It also could help notify you if like any food hurts your stomach or makes you feel like indigestion or bloating. And so as a result of these observations, clients then start to make decisions with their food based on how they make them feel, how satisfied they are, how much they satisfy their cravings, how it will positively affect their body and things that they actually enjoy instead of just going through the motions, right? So I've worked with a handful of women over the last few years that went to the bathroom once a week. And then slowly as we started increasing detox into their diet, increasing water, increasing movement, they started going to the bathroom more frequently. And I'm talking about bowel movements. And so as a result, they have started observing this. They started feeling better. They started realizing like, oh, I feel better when I poop every day. And then this affected their nutrition habits, and they started prioritizing these detox foods into their diet more, and the water and the walking. And then if their digestion started to kind of relapse, like, oh, they started getting more constipated, they knew exactly what they needed to do to get back to it. So that's just an example. And in the Cravings Cleanup Challenge, we use part number 4 to observe how are your cravings impacted by this meal, right? How is your hunger impacted by this meal? What are you noticing about these meals that you're eating as it relates to cravings, hunger, and overeating later on in the day? And the Cravings Cleanup Challenge is a 7-day nutrition challenge to help you reduce afternoon snacking and nighttime cravings by up to 50%. So when women come into this free challenge and they start to see that this one simple nutrition habit has such a big impact on their cravings, hunger, and overeating later on in the day, they start to do it more, right? So observing is so impactful. It's not just woo-woo, okay, I need to be more mindful, I need to be aware. No, this shit is important. This is the bedrock from which all of your other nutrition habits are going to be able to change, where you're going to be able to maintain these habits for the rest of your life. So when we observe after meals, we want to observe right after, okay? So within like the next 5, 10, 15 minutes, around 30 minutes to an hour afterwards, and then within the next 3 to 5 hours. So for example, like right after my meal, I might observe like, oh, did I actually enjoy that food, or was I just eating it because it was on a diet plan? Did I overeat? Like, do I feel way too stuffed? That might be something that you observe right after within 15, 20 minutes. Within 30 minutes to an hour, you can start to kind of understand or feel like, oh, do I have any gas? Do I have any bloating? How did that meal sit? How are my energy levels? Am I crashing? Do I feel satisfied? Am I having a craving for something else? Am I still hungry? Am I full? And then within 3 to 5 hours, that's when you can start to observe some of the same things still. So has this meal kept me full for 3 to 5 hours? Am I still craving something sweet or something salty? And so now it makes you a more active player, active observer in your meals and choosing foods. So let's break down some of these things that you might be able to observe. So when we look at hunger, right, we're looking at fullness level and physically how our stomach and our body feels. So ideally, a Satisfull meal is going to keep you full for anywhere between 3 to 6 hours. Now, if you're someone that's more active, like you exercise in the morning, you have a more active job, maybe you're up and about with the kids or just doing things around the house more consistently throughout the day, you might be more hungry closer to that 3 or 4 hour mark. If you're more sedentary and you're prioritizing Satisfull meals, we want to try and get you to that 5 or 6 hour mark of feeling full with your meals. If you're hungry before that, it may mean that you need more lean and detox in that meal. Okay, lean and detox is what's going to help keep you full. It's going to give you volume in your stomach. It's going to provide you with protein, fiber, water, nutrients, vitamins that your body needs to feel satiated, feel full, and help you with your cravings and fat loss goals. Second thing that you can look at is crave. Okay, your cravings after a meal. If you're someone that craves something directly after a meal, right? You want something sweet right after, you want something salty. This could be a good indicator that maybe within your meal, you need to add a little bit more crunch or salt or something a little sweet with your meal. How about having half a cookie with your lunch or having a piece of chocolate right after dinner? If you're craving something really strong within that 3 hour mark, I would say that maybe your previous meal need to have a little bit more crave, whether that was some bread or some rice or cheese or bacon or crackers or whatever gives you the yum yums, okay? Whatever is going to make you say, oh my God, I can't wait to eat this plate. It could be pasta, okay? I don't care what your crave is, honestly. It could be a glass of wine with lunch. My grandpa would have a glass of wine with lunch and with dinner. He would also have a shot of grappa in his espresso, and then he would go off to work, okay? It was a different time. But like that's what made him feel satisfied and rounded out in his meal. He wasn't drinking 6 glasses of wine and 3 shots of grappa, but that's what he needed. Okay. Now I'm not advocating for you to drink. I always have to have a caveat to this. Okay. I'm not condoning alcohol drinking. I know y'all gonna do it. Some of us, right? So work it in as a crave. So again, if you're craving something within an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, observe your previous meal. Did you have enough crave? If you worked out that day and you're craving more carbs, you might need more carbs pre-post workout. Okay. And those are things that, we'll discover together in our programs because it's a little bit more involved. The goal here is that we're not denying ourselves the foods that we enjoy throughout the day because there's only so much we can resist by the end of the night. How many of us have been there, resist all day, and then binge at night, right? The idea is to give you that cravings relief throughout the day, to allow you to have the bread, to allow you to have half a muffin, to allow you to have a piece of donut in the break room after lunch, so that by the end of the night, you're like, oh, kind of indifferent, right? That shiny object syndrome is gone. Well, I had a cookie with lunch. Like, I'm kind of craving one, but I don't feel this strong, deep desire to have a whole sleeve of cookies now. Hey there, boo. I'm excited to share that registration is open for the free 7-day Cravings Cleanup Challenge, a nutrition challenge to help you reduce mindless snacking, afternoon cravings, and nighttime overeating by up to 50% using one simple habit. If you're someone who has tried to use willpower, self-control, not keeping foods in the house, just having water or healthy food swaps, and they haven't worked, then this program is for you. This will be the 6th round of the Cravings Cleanup Challenge, and we've helped nearly 80 women so far. I want to invite you to join them and take the first step in your cravings and fat loss journey without the gimmicks, without the fads, and without the stress. Click the link below to save your spot. We start Sunday, February 11th and go through Sunday, February 18th. I can't wait to see you there. The third thing we want to observe is if you're experiencing any indigestion, bloating, heartburn. Okay, this could be a good indicator that some of the foods that you have just eaten are not sitting well with your stomach, with your gut, with your digestion, and may not be the best options for the future. Okay, now I'm someone that I'm lactose intolerant. I choose not to eat things that might upset my stomach. If I'm eating out with friends and, we get something that has cheese in it, or I go out and I grab some ice cream. If I eat out with friends and we're sharing food and there's something with cheese in it, I'm not like, oh, I can't have it. Like, I'll have a little bite, right? But then I will know that, like, okay, my stomach is not going to feel the best. I'm going to be bloated. I'm going to have some indigestion. I might even have some heartburn. But generally, I choose foods that are going to help me feel physically good. Okay. So I'm not just having whole milk in the house and whole milk ice cream. I know that if I drink margaritas, I'm going to have heartburn. So I try not to drink those type of cocktails. And I know that some foods, like fried foods, make me bloated. So I don't usually eat those types of foods just because I don't want to feel like shit. I know there's some people out there that are like, I don't really care. I like these foods. I'm going to eat them. But generally, if these foods are not sitting well with us, it means that our digestion is strained trying to digest these foods. And overall, our body is in an inflamed state trying to deal with these foods. And so we want to try and reduce that load on the body. The fourth thing that you're able to observe within Satisfull plates is your energy levels and your mood. Do you crash after you eat? Do you have energy? Do you feel good? Like, I had a client that we just started working together, and she's keeping a food and cravings journal. And, a lot of her foods before we started working together were like pizza and tacos and, a sandwich and this and that. And then I noticed that she had a salad one day, and then she had, more vegetables. And then what she was observing was after more energy, feeling better, have better mood, right? So food has power to help you feel better. It has the power to affect your energy levels. It has the power to affect your mood. So being able to observe this meal gave me a ton of energy in the afternoon. Those might be foods that you want to continue to prioritize. That might be a lunchtime meal that is going to help you stay focused at work. A couple of other things that we kind of want to observe as we head into a meal, and this is something I get into more with my one-on-one clients, is your hunger levels before, your fullness levels after, as well as how fast you eat your meals. How long did it take you to enjoy that meal? How rapidly you're eating. Are you someone that eats within 5-7 minutes, right? And then maybe you end up being too full or being really hungry soon after because you didn't give your body enough time to kind of respond. And then understanding our hunger and fullness levels afterwards gives us an idea of our eating habits around different hunger levels and how quickly we get full. And so these are all things that we can observe when it comes to creating Satisfull plates. Again, this isn't something that I dive into right away with my clients. And even in the Cravings Cleanup Challenge, we're just going to focus on 2 things. Okay, we're going to focus on Fullness, and we're going to focus on Cravings for simplicity's sake, so that you can have a better idea of like, okay, like how are my cravings impacted after this Satisfull meal? And what are my fullness levels after? Am I eating to a 10 or 11 or 12, or am I eating to leave a little space in the stomach? So you heard me reference this before. A good place for anyone to start is to keep a food and cravings journal and to note down the types of foods you're eating and then what you observe afterwards, okay? And then you can start to connect the dots between certain meals, certain times of day, how you feel, your energy levels, your digestion, your cravings, your hunger, your fullness levels. And then from there, you can become a more informed person around your nutrition habits, your nutrition routines, and any changes that you need to make. So that is all I have for you today on part number 4, Observe. I hope that this 4-part series was helpful in lending a little bit more insight into what each part of Satisfull Plates is about and why it's so important. I am always available for your questions, comments, and concerns. Don't hesitate to reach out to me on Instagram, linked below. And then I can't wait to see you in the free Cravings Cleanup Challenge. We start on February 11th, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.